Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I have a treat that I am so excited to share. HMCS Haida is finally in World of Warships. The number of Reddit posts, forum posts, and just in general times I've brought this ship up in conversation, praying that one day she would be added as kind of one of the standout ships Canada had in naval combat. Well, Wargaming came out with the Naval Legend video, and then not too long after, on Canada Day, released the Haida. And the ship I will immediately draw a comparison to is the Gajah Mada, and it makes a lot of sense. The Mada is an N-class destroyer, which is actually the predecessor or successor to the tribal class, which the Haida is. So when you look at the superstructure, the bridge, you notice a lot of similarities, but that's kind of where the similarities end, because the tribals were limited to a single quad set of torpedoes in favor of mounting some extra guns in the name of this 102 and the Bofors anti-air gun. Now, a lot of things you can do in the Haida, you could probably do better in the Mada in this game, but the Haida does have a few things up her sleeve, and one of them is her detection. It is superb. 5.7 with the commander, 6.5 I believe it is stock. It makes her one of, I believe, if not the stealthiest ship at this tier. It can compete hand-on-hand and outspots a Shiratsu. So that is a huge advantage when you're talking about a destroyer, because you can get closer to the other destroyers, and with these guns you will win that gunfight. And that is the other thing the Haida has going for her. The tribals were built with the intention of being very capable gunboats, destroyer leaders, and that's why they went with more guns over more torpedoes, and it proved very successful. If you go watch the Legends video or read anything about the tribal destroyers, they were very successful in their gunnery engagements because they just had more of them than a lot of the other destroyers at the time. Having one torpedo rack definitely limits the Haida in World of Warships. In my opinion, you're not going to have those blowout games the way you do with some other destroyers, because you're relying on far fewer torpedoes to hit the same target. You can't spread them out, but you can make up with it with some very good guns. 12.3 base range, that outranges the Qckslvrslash, and that kind of puts into perspective where the Haida falls as far as gunnery goes. The turrets are a little slow to rotate, 18 seconds, but with that range means you don't have to get too close, and you are going to be detecting the other ships before they detect you, so you have the advantage and the time to get your guns around to open up the engagement. And you can see here just putting consistent damage down. One of the other unique traits to the Haida is she has that kind of Commonwealth Perth-like smoke, that the puffs are very short, but the duration of the consumable is very long. So you can see here just crawling along at quarter speed, my smoke trail just flowing with me, and this makes the captain skill that increases your smoke size quite handy, particularly going in reverse. The Haida is very fast going in reverse. You can see I hit it there, already doing over 10 knots, and she accelerates very quickly into reverse, fast enough that you will quite often accidentally sail out the back of your smoke. And you saw a split second there while I was looking at the torpedoes what kind of makes the torps unique. Because you only have 4, because it's Commonwealth, British, it's brought in that single fire torp rather than wide and narrow. You have either narrow or single, which with 4 torpedoes is handy. It allows you to split them up at least a bit, and what I've found myself doing more often than not in the Haida is firing 2 of them off, using those first 2 to try to steer my target, and then the other 2 on a single bearing to try to get damage, and they do some great damage. Over 16,000 apiece, puts her second in the tier, if I'm correct. The Shiratsu doing just a little more than the Haida's torpedoes. That said, all the other ships have more torps, probably the only thing a full volley out of this will actually beat is the Sims, because those Sims torps just do not do the damage. And this game's really so far kind of showing off my typical experience in the Haida, and I've had some games where I've done more damage than this one results in, but this I felt was the most kind of typical game and result I had sailing this ship, so I felt it was the best to share and use in a kind of review situation. I don't want to blow it out of the water with, you know, oh, look at all this damage I did, and raise people's expectations, because like I said a little while ago, the Haida just doesn't have those blowout games. You know, 100k is probably going to be the top end that you'll ever see in her, simply because you don't have the torpedoes to just do huge chunks of damage, and short of someone being really stupid and sailing into them all, you're just not going to see that. But you do get consistent damage, and when you get targets like this Emerald in close broadside on, you can just destroy them. She does a couple grand to me, I do just shy of 5 to her, and look how quick these guns can chew through the Emerald. Granted, very lightly armored cruiser, but still doing big hunks of damage with each volley. Second she kind of gets angled out though, need to switch back to HE, gets her Hydra up, so I'm just going to get moving, accelerate really quick. And the nice thing with this extended smoke, if you have to leave your smoke or get moving quickly for any reason, well, it's still active, so when you're able to, just slam the brakes back in and you can drop back into your smoke screen. It's also quite useful if you're playing alongside a cruiser or something and you just want to stealth them up to the next island. You know, rather than using it for yourself, just, you know, maybe you've got a friend in Atlanta, get him to that next island, or just a ship that needs to get into cover. Because at your gun range, with the speed of this ship, you don't hugely need your smoke. You can sit shooting just like the modern day Bliss. Just sit at range. Granted, these shells do loft a little more than the Bliss, so aiming's going to be a little trickier, but you can compensate for that. And just put your damage in that way. You can see for a second there, my secondary did lock onto something and was shooting. So maybe secondary build Haida? If someone tries it, send it in. If you can get a kill with the secondary, I highly doubt it. One of the other things the Haida brings into a match is just her hit points. Now, I do have survivability expert, so I've boosted that up a bit, but you can see 18,150 with that skill. It puts you up there. It makes you a very durable destroyer. And you can see here, I put 2 torps on the corner, I'm saving the rest. And that's, I really do feel, the best way to use these torpedoes. You have so few, you've got to make them count. So don't, you know, use them all in one spot. Try to spread them out a bit. And with this Atlanta here, I'm concerned about getting radared, but at the same time, she's far enough away, this Indy's far enough away. I'm just going to get in the open. I can take a beating. I'm going to put some damage down. That is my goal. And just making sure I'm looking around, looking for the Highlands, because that is something that will get me killed, is if I do run aground, I'm a goner. A few more seconds till I've got my smoke, so I've just got to dodge a volley or two here. The rudder shift on this ship, pretty decent, though her turning circle, nothing to write home about. And you can see, I get lit on fire there, but I'm already slowing up. I know I need to be at quarter speed for this smoke to protect me. I get down there, Indianapolis has a volley inbound, but because I kind of just get to keep creeping forward in the smoke, I'm safe. And that's something that, you know, ships will adapt to, but early on, a lot just keep firing at where my smoke was, not really compensating for the fact that I'm able to move forward. Now we do have the Césaire there, and I will start working her. It's a shame she's just not a touch closer. 8-kilometer torpedoes. I could probably get some damage in, but I'll just keep using the guns. And you can see just about to cross through 100 shell hits. In fact, I have already. And if you want damage in the ship, that's how you're going to have to get it. You know, the fires will do some for you. If you're lucky, maybe you'll light a couple on a ship that just damage control. But between the main guns, AP, HE, and quite honestly I've got IFHE on this to just try to make sure the situations I am using HE, I'm getting the most damage I can, and you can see pretty reliably getting about 1,000 damage of volley here, which with a 4-second reload, it does add up. Well, sorry, 5-second reload. Now there is an Atlanta ahead of me, and right now my 2 div mates are kind of going, hey, you know, what about that Atlanta? Can you spot him? I want to kill him. Well, that puts it in my head, maybe I should be the one to go kill the Atlanta. And with her sitting broadside on like this, AP probably could have been a choice, but low health, I'm not going to get picky. I just shot what I had loaded. And 314, not great, but with the rudder shift and just good old wiggling of the booty, I'm able to dodge a lot of these Atlantis shells. And that's kind of the same thing when you're attacking other destroyers. You get nose in on this, so much of your gun power is up front. And turret number 2 can rotate 360 degrees. It allows you to fight as you need. You can always keep 2 turrets on a target. And that's kind of similar to the Mata. You know, the Mata's rear turret being able to do that 360. Well, in the Haida it's turret 2. I see just a glimpse of the Atlanta's butt, and that's all I need. And in the end here, walked away with 53,000 damage, 303,000 credits, 10,000 XP, just a pair of kills, both of which came to cruisers. And this has been my typical Haida game. Around the 50k mark, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, 1 or 2 kills. She does great against other destroyers, particularly those of her tier. As you start facing ones of higher tiers, like if you come across an 8 or 9, they start to get an edge just because of hit points and guns, but that's nothing you wouldn't expect. And, well, 4th on the team in this one. More than happy with the result, and it was a win in a weekend of just a lot of hard-fought games, and some teams that weren't playing all that smart. The reason this took a couple days was A, I wanted to get enough games into the Haida, B, on actual Canada Day, I was in no state to be making a video. So, sorry it took a couple days, but I'm happy to have gotten it out. I hope this is informative to those of you who are interested in the ship. I bought it without a question because of who or what the ship is. And one of the things it also is the only tribal class destroyer left in the world. We are the only country that preserved one of them. So it's a kind of unique monument to a World War II destroyer, or one of the many. Anyways, if you do buy it, I promise you, you will probably have fun in the ship. Her detection and guns just make her a deadly threat. And if you don't, well, now you know a little more about what she can do and what makes her special in this game. And maybe it makes you go and look up some of what made her special in real life. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I am Qckslvrslash. I'll have another one for you all later.